Good evening, everyone. Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats. We'll be reading page turners your way. We have our wonderful guest, returning guest, Luca Dimatteo, and he has a new book out. Come on out. Luca, come on and see the folks here. Come on in the room.
Hello, Ellen. How are you? Hello, everyone.
I am good. I am great. It's always a pleasure to see you, and
Always a
I
pleasure to
enjoy
be
your
here.
books. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
thank you.
I'm sorry. Let me make sure. Go ahead. I
Said
can hear
always
you.
a pleasure to be here. Sorry, I don't
Oh,
mean to cut you
wonderful.
off.
Wonderful. I had to make sure I don't have any feedback back, but that was just my phone. I had to turn it down. I don't want to hear
I
the
just did the
feedback
same
stuff.
thing.
But yeah, it's always great.
Too many newfangled electronics around us.
So true. So true. Luca, I want you to show your first book that you did with us. Is that your first book? I want to make sure that that is your first book that you
Yes,
did with
that's
us,
right
Greenhaven.
here.
And so I
That's
wanted you
Greenhaven.
folks to see that because Luca, in my words, he is a phenomenal writer. And that is just not a hidden thing. It is an open truth. And so with that
Thank
book is
you.
where you're welcome is where I first met him. I want you guys to know he has another one. Now your second book you have out and you have Jordan's Bitter Pill. So tell before you tell us about that book, could you tell us a backdrop of yourself um, and anything you want us to know?
Oh, sure. I was a doctor for 28 years, and in 2018, I became true evidence that you can get hurt sleeping. I came home from playing basketball, went to bed, showered, went to bed, and the next morning I was in an ambulance going to the hospital. I could not get out of bed, I could not move, couldn't feel my left leg, and turns out that I had blown 4 discs in my back. And I kid everybody and say I did it sleeping. Actually, it happened during basketball. As they looked further into it, it had been 30 years of wear and tear on my back. I was basically told that if I didn't retire, I'd be in a wheelchair at 65. 3 weeks later, I walked away from medicine and had my first back surgery. And I said to my wife, Laura, what do I do with myself now?
Mhm.
And I said, I don't know anything else. And she said, you've always written, you've always wanted to be a writer and write a book. Why don't you write the book? And so I said, okay, I've got nothing else I can do right now. I'm stuck here recuperating. And that's when the story of Greenhaven started coming to me. And for most people, and yourself included, Ellen, you've been very generous and Greenhaven has done very, very well.
Awesome.
Uh, it came out in late 2020. And it's been for everyone a great read, but for me it was my savior. It kept me from going down that proverbial rabbit hole and losing myself in madness. Instead, I lost myself in the characters. Um, and Greenhaven happens to be a conglomeration of the work I've done. Basically, as a podiatrist, I went to a lot of nursing homes, and that story is centered around a fictitious nursing home called Greenhaven. And the director of nursing's at Greenhaven finds out the patients are being murdered, and the more she looks into it, she finds out she's being framed for it. And it's actually 3 storylines that run together. Um, and it's not as serious as it sounds. And as you know, Ellen, there's a lot of humor in it.
Yes,
There's some
yes, it
funny stuff
is.
that happens. Um, and there's a very funny twist in it. And well, it's outside the book actually, in that I have dared people to email me and tell me who the mastermind is behind it before I tell you. It has been a lot of fun to get the emails, and I answer everybody who emails me
That's so
back.
good.
And even now, 6 years later, um, I still answer everyone. It's still selling very well. There is an ebook version of it, and with the release of Jordan, sales of Greenhaven has picked up again.
Awesome.
Funny, quick funny story about that. I was at a Barnes and Noble doing a book signing. And I had both books there, and I had the full intention of selling Jordan's Bitter Pill. It was the first week it was out. And here it is, they're both sitting on the table, and I'm pushing this one. And I sold one copy of Jordan's Bitter Pill, and I sold 17 copies of Green
Wow.
Hearted. And not because there was anything wrong with this one, but everybody's like, no, 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 we want to read the first one first. And I kept telling them, but they're not tied together. There's
Good,
nothing.
and I understand. I understand as a reader, we want to know where you come from. Where did you develop from? And we want to go back to where you started. And even if they're not together and they're standalones, that's why I ask you to show the book because they need to know where you came from. That's just it could just be me, and I see it not just me, it's others.
No, and it was a good lesson for me to learn. Um, and recently now it's I've been very fortunate. They're now selling side by side. People are buying both at
That's
the same
wonderful.
time.
That's
And
wonderful.
yeah, I get a
So
husband and a wife or sisters or brothers coming up, and well, one buys one and one buys the other, and they're going to swap.
that is
Okay.
so wonderful. Let's
So
get into your book. Hello to those that are on there. I see it's one online. I'm not sure who it is, and others may come, and there may be a replay. You get a lot of replayers, and I'm going to share this out. But Luca, I want to talk about your second book. Where did it come from? Meaning the story being developed. Was it hidden in your mind? And also tell us a backdrop of this story. I did read on it, and you know that I haven't read your book. For those who listen on, I'm just going solely on his synopsis, and the synopsis just popped to me. And it's going to because I'm a woman, a black woman, I can understand even from the synopsis, that's what we suffer with all the time. And then just to put it out there, let them know what I'm talking about, the backdrop of Jordan's
sure.
Bitter Pill.
Sure. So Jordan's Bitter Pill is about a young doctor, a female doctor, who grows up upper middle class. She's an only child, and her parents kind of shelter her from the ills of the world. She takes an inner city residency, and she is exposed to a whole class of patients that has to choose between medical care, their medicine, and feeding their families. And so this creates a whole different aspect in her life. And she passes on a very lucrative practice and, excuse me, opens up in an inner city neighborhood. That inner city neighborhood is an ecosystem all of its own. It knows how to work the system. They work together. That ecosystem, that neighborhood is a community made up of all different kinds of people from all different kinds of places. And what happens is when she first moves in there, she's an outsider. And so they don't really trust her. They're willing to do the minimum, but they're not going to go for the extra tests and stuff like that. And so she does a few things in her office to try and get them to trust her. And they work very well. But the problem is she's young and she's naive, and she gets too close to the medical legal line. And an
Mm,
overzealous prosecutor who's trying to make a name for himself finds out about it, and he puts her on trial. And now the community that she came to save, who now considers her one of their own, has to decide whether they're going to come and save her.
mm,
During the story, the community does a few things, and they get very close to doing some things that are very unethical, or just some things that happen. And she again has to make a choice now to do something for them, or again risk something on herself. And so
wow.
it repeats itself again. And but the story is really about family and community and doing the right thing no matter the consequences.
Uh,
And you ask me where this comes from. Some of it is based on some actual things that have happened in real life, and also I had two medical offices, and one was in an affluent area, and the other one was in a more blue collar, almost inner city kind of situation. Had a
mhm.
had a very big mix. Um, I grew up My parents are both from Italy. I'm first generation here. We grew up in a middle class area. Um, that people were very close knit. The neighborhood all knew each other. They all worked together. I take a lot of this, a lot of my growing up experiences, and my family, we weren't rich, we weren't poor, but we worked together. My dad had, he worked two jobs for most of my young life. Okay, he'd come home from his first job, have dinner, go back out to his second job. My mom stayed home with us until we went to school, and then she went out to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had my first job at 11 years old. I was a shoe shine boy.
Wow.
Okay, and I've been
Wow.
working ever since. So I understand that life. I don't understand the inner city. I did a lot of research for this book,
Mm-hmm.
um, and trying to get it right. Um, and it's not all serious again, because as Ellen, as you know me, I'm quirky, I'm funny.
Yes, yes,
There's
I
a
love it.
there is a lot of humor in this book. There's a lot that will make
Wow.
you laugh. There is a there's the characters from the community are both serious and funny at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Okay. I mean, there's a cantankerous 92-year-old woman who runs the neighborhood and knows everything. Okay. And
I
and
love it. Are you
she's
still
she's
there?
as bossy as she is funny. Okay.
Wow.
And so the entire book is getting a lot of good vibe, and it has to do a lot with today's society and stuff, and the broken healthcare system. But the story, that's the backdrop. The
That is so awesome. Go ahead, finish what you're saying. I don't
the
want to cut
court
you off.
case the court case is also the backdrop, and the story is about how Jordan, the doctor, grows from this naive girl into this powerful woman, and what
Mm,
happens to her, and how the community changes her. Okay, and they
wow.
also they also change also.
I
So
love that. I haven't even read the story. I'm definitely getting the story. But I wanted to ask you first, especially what you're saying now, and I say, especially me being a black person, being in the inner city type.
I'm
I just
sorry, Ellen. Ellen, I'm sorry, you froze and I
okay,
didn't hear what you were saying.
okay. Do you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so it's a very industrial type area and very poor area as I was growing up. But now I just learned, I didn't know this then, Luca, but I just learned that my area where I'm from was Underground Railroad, where Harriet Tubman went through,
Oh,
and
wow.
a lot of things like that. So my city where I am is closed down. I was going to show my grandson where I lived until I found out on the internet it's boarded up. So it's very, very
Oh,
poor. It was poor then, and because the plant closed, and I gave a lot of, like my dad, he only had fourth grade education. He worked in the plant. He worked in it till it closed down. And so that gave those who wasn't educated, only had a fourth grade education or none at all. They didn't go by education at that time. They went by the knowledge and the skills that they have. So I can understand, and that's given me even before looking at your story, is giving me a backdrop or a general eye view of what the story is going to be about, especially what you're saying this. What made you want to take Jordan? And I know you said that she was sheltered. Let's start with her being sheltered first. Why do you think, as a writer, or if he hadn't even came to you yet, why do you think that her parents sheltered her in that way?
I think they did it inadvertently. Okay, I think they were trying to protect her. But I'm going to answer that in two ways. That was the
Okay.
first way. The second way has to do with something you just said. Um, I'm going to start that with, um, in my family growing up, my immediate family, I was the only one who went to college. Um, and in my extended family, up until recently, there's only a handful of us who went to college. Having said that, there are many different ways to get an education. And you touched on that a minute ago. In your neighborhood, okay, there was education, just a different type of education.
Mm-hmm.
Education doesn't necessarily happen in a classroom or in a school, okay? Education can happen on the street.
True.
Education can happen anywhere, okay? And there's many different kinds of education that people get. Some of the smartest people I know, okay, never stepped foot in a classroom. And some of the
Wow.
dumbest and some of the dumbest people I know have 5 degrees. Okay. It's it's a fact.
Yes.
And it's knowledge is what you make of it. Okay,
So
and how
true.
you use it and how you use it. In Jordan's case, she had she had the classroom knowledge, okay,
Mm.
but she didn't have the world knowledge. She didn't have life knowledge. Okay. And that's what that's what she gains throughout this story. And that's what the neighborhood gives her and brings her up to, if we're talking about that. And it's what she's going to take into the next book. Yes, there is
There
going to
will
be
be
another.
another. Oh, good, good,
Yes,
good. But
there
I
will
want
be
to
another.
ask you too, if you can tell us, or if it's in your wheelhouse to tell us now. I'm still on the part of her mother sheltering her from the ills of the world. And
Mhm.
two things I want to ask. So, is she a privileged white girl, or is she a middle class girl with a array of ethnic background? Uh, that's what I want to know. And then why
Number
to
two,
the. And, I'm sorry.
I actually, in my mind, I actually see Jordan being Indian.
Ooh,
And I
okay.
don't know why. I
So she's
when I was
my
writing it,
immigrant.
an immigrant, no, I see her being born in the United States.
Okay.
Okay, but and even my wife asked me the very same question you just did. Okay, and I didn't have any foreknowledge of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I don't see Jordan as being white, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I don't see that color anyway. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
I for some reason when I got done with it, for me, Jordan was not brought up as a privileged person. She was brought up as just middle class. Okay, she had parents. Her mother works in advertising. Okay. Her father is middle management in a brake company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So their jobs are they're more than just factory workers, but they're not executives. So they've
Okay.
done okay, but she was an only child. Okay. And so they did nothing but baby her and protect her
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
by, okay, it's like, okay, if you have 3 children, okay, and let me back up for a minute and tell you my process. So when I'm developing a character, I write everything I can about that character, and it could be 10 to 15 to 20 pages. Okay. One of the things I write about that character is their birth order and what that means. Okay. And everything that goes along with that. And it could be in her case, she's an only child. Okay, so she's a firstborn. She has no siblings. Her parents, when I did develop them, okay, their development is a little less because they don't play such a big role in the book. But she has no siblings. She has no one to bounce anything off of
I
other than
see. Mm-hmm.
other than a friend she makes later on that becomes like a sister to her in the book. Okay. Um, but being a firstborn, I carved and a firstborn of immigrants. Okay. There was a lot that I had to carve and learn on my own as an adult, because My parents didn't know any better. They did the best they could. Okay. My brother, who was second in line, had it a little bit easier. And my youngest brother had the easiest of the three of us because my parents were a little bit wiser by
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and most wise by the third child. And so I took that experience and that knowledge and wrote Jordan from that point of view, in that
Wow.
she is the firstborn and her parents had nothing to go by. So they just did what they thought was right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, they sheltered her. They kept her
Wow.
from getting, they didn't, they let her fall, but they didn't let her fall enough.
Do you
So
think from her getting that education within the inner city, that gave her that thirst to loathe to help that community, or where did she get that thirst from that she wanted to help that community, and what
I
did she
think
see?
the way I wrote it, I think it's inside her. It always
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing she gets from her parents is to do the right thing. Okay. And that her parents instilled in her. And so how it plays itself out, you'll have to read the book. But
Love when you do
yeah,
that to me. I love it.
I do
Love
do
it.
that to you. Yes, I do that.
Let me
I'll
reset for
tease you.
those. I'm going to reset, Luca. And if anybody's out there or those who are doing replay, our guest is Luca Dimatteo. And we're talking about his book, Jordan's Bitter Pill. And it's a wonderful book. And if you guys are on here, do share, swipe, and share. We talked about his first book earlier, but he writes so well, and I really like his book. And so, guys, look out for that, and also for his other book, Green Haven. And so, just to see, I'm always wondering what's in your head. And I just kind of met you from the first book, but I think it's been 5 years that I've known you now. I want to
Yes,
say
it
that
has been. It
at
has been
least
five
five
years.
years. And so in that, so what was the span of time uh, that you had Jordan in your mind? Was it uh, immediately after Greenhaven, or was it just like, what was the span of time
Jordan,
for the thought process?
well, so I need to fill you in on what's been going on between Greenhaven and Jordan. Jordan started about 2 years after Greenhaven.
Whoa.
Um, but what happened was when Greenhaven was done, I started going to book signings and stuff. And I met another author, and she and I kept meeting at this one particular book signing event. And we kept saying it was a horrible book signing event. And we went to it each year, and each year we kept sitting there and saying, there's got to be a better way than authors going one off and meeting at these events together and not doing anything. And so in May of 2024, we decided that enough talking about it. We've got to do something about it. And we created an organization called Connecticut Book Festivals. And we started the company in May of 2024. And as of today, we are now a nonprofit. We have nearly 600 authors in Connecticut. And we are putting book signing events on throughout the state. We have an educational program. And so that's why there's a 6 year gap between the two books, because I got a little busy in between. And so we are taking both published and unpublished. We're taking published authors doing book signing events, and we're taking unpublished authors and helping them get published. I've become um, a lot more versed in the book industry since my first book, and so much for retirement. Um, I'm not one, I guess, who can sit still too long.
Had
That's
you heard
true.
from any? Wow. Wow. I know the book is fairly new, but had you got any, I want to say slap back, but not in a way of viciously, because writing something and then it kind of deals with the inner city. And I know it's going to be a good plush read. And especially when you were saying about the trusting on both sides. And the only example, Luca, that I have is when I was in high school. And this might be way off mark, but this is the only way I can just kind of, I can feel for it anyway. But just the audience that's listening, I can just tell. When I was in high school, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I was in high school, about a freshman or a sophomore, we had a white Black history teacher,
Mm.
and they were going after her. And we found out once they realized that she knew a lot more, almost than us Black people, about our history. And so I can look at that as Jordan. She's learning more about the inner city and learning what to do, and then learning a way to bridge together her trust, their trust, and vice versa, to trust in the person that she is, and can kind of help that neighborhood, because you do need that kind of trust, especially with us being Black. We always know that we're systemically, things happen, regardless if we want them to or not. That is the bridge that's hard to go over. And so
So
with mhm.
I'm sorry, go ahead, finish, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so with that thought process and with Jordan, I can kind of see that it's going to take something for that trust. It's not going to be easy. But then also when you talk about they had to have a choice, she see that between getting their medicine or paying their rent or eating food. So that is a very good plush backdrop for us. And what were you going to say? I hope you remember what you're going to say. And this time
Oh,
is
yes, yes.
wine. Go ahead.
So I'm going to actually tease you a little bit because I actually did think of that well into before starting to write this. Um,
Good.
and as you know from Greenhaven, if the Catholic Church didn't come after me for
Well,
Greenhaven,
we don't know
which
yet.
that yeah, real well, no, they've got more problems than dealing with me. The in the neighborhood in Jordan um, is a mix of races.
Okay.
It really it has a Nigerian cab driver. It has a Jewish couple. It's a mix of races in there. I did that on purpose um, because the neighborhood I was practicing in was exactly that.
Wow.
Because if you go across America, okay, inner cities are always portrayed as being just black.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So true,
okay,
Luca. So
okay,
true.
but that's not the truth.
That's so
Okay,
true.
and if you look at if you and I'm going to get called out on this, okay, but if you look at this, there is a fair amount of white people on welfare.
Oh, yes.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay,
Statistically, it has been
and,
said, Luca, statistically, it has been said. But just to stay that, and at that point, statistically, it has. But here's the thing, too, long story short, is that they learn how to get out of it. I'm telling you from experience. There was one
no,
girl,
go
she
ahead.
told me, when you're on the system, I didn't know that they would pay for my college because I was on the system a little bit, on welfare a little bit. And so instead, I was getting the lapel grants and I was paying. She said, "Do you know that when you're on welfare, you can go to school free?" So what they do is they take that and they go to school for free, and they're not on it as a generation as we are.
Yes, yes, that's true. You're right.
Hmm.
And I agree with you 100% on that. Okay. Remember, I said I did the research on this, okay?
Yes.
And I am by no means an expert. I would never even come close to that. Okay. But I made the neighborhood diverse, and that was intentional. Um, because I wanted to show that it's not just the black race that that is in the inner city. That was very much on purpose. Okay. And the healthcare system um, does not discriminate. I mean, anybody can be caught up in a broken healthcare system.
Yes.
Um, you know, and there are and in today's healthcare system, there is as many young white people who can't afford it as there are any other race.
Hmm.
So you'll see when people read this book, okay, I purposely use different races throughout it. And that's intentional. I cover, a span of different ones, and it's not so I don't get in trouble. It's because that's the truth.
I love it.
Um,
I love that you did that.
um,
As a writer, I love that you can explore on those things like that. And writing this story, I don't know if this is the same, maybe you might know. I hear people say inner city, and then I sometimes hear them saying metropolitan. Is that almost the same of saying inner city, or
no,
I don't know
no.
really the term metropolitan?
No, no. Metropolitan, it just mean to me, metropolitan just means city. I mean, it's not okay. I think an inner city in itself is a bad term.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because inner city it gets the connotation of poor. Inner city
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean poor, and that's why I don't use the word poor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I really am trying to stay away from that. Um, when I first started thinking about how I was going to pitch this, the word poor kept coming up, and I'm like, no, I don't, I don't want to use that. Okay, just because it's inner city, these people in this book, okay, they're not poor. They're actually very rich, but rich in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Um, Most people think poor, they denote poor as being monetary. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they have limited funds. Okay. But they know what they're doing in this. We're talking about really 1 square block in this book is
Mm-hmm.
all it is. Okay. I never actually say that. Okay. But in my mind, that's what it is. And as we're talking about this, I think it's why in my mind, Jordan is a person of color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems to fit better. And it's funny because even when I said that, when my wife asked me, when she finished reading it, she goes, it fits better. And that Jordan is that person, and I said,
Mm.
I'm glad you said that because I don't know why I see it that way too, but I do. And I said, someday if they make the movie, I'd be very
I hope
happy if that
so.
worked
I
out.
hope so. Both of them.
Um,
Both of them need to be a movie. So, Luca, our time is running out. I hate that when the time runs out. But
I
I
know I
wanted to
always have so
ask
much
you.
fun with you.
Yes, it's always fun with you. So, when you wrote this book, when you wrote Jordan's Bitter Pill, let's start with the title first, and then we'll go a little bit more. We're going to close this. We're going to give you a little bit more time because we set up a little differently. But the title alone, Bitter Pill, I haven't read the book for those who's listening on. It's only the synopsis. The bitter pill, is it the bitter pill of what she now learns in life that she was sheltered from? Or what is bitter about Jordan's bitter pill?
Yes, and when you read the first chapter, you'll understand it.
Okay.
Um, but I'll confess, it was not the original title.
Mm,
Okay, and I'm going to say an author's name to you, and you're going to know the author. Okay, I was stumped for the title of this book. It was actually a totally different title, and so a very good friend of ours, Timothy Cable,
mm-hmm.
you know Tim. Tim
Yes.
and I are very good friends, okay? And I went to Tim and Tim read it. And I'm like, Tim, help me with the title. And Tim came up with the title, Jordan's Bitter Pill.
Wow.
And
You two are
and
dynamic people.
Tim and I work, yeah, we work very well together.
Love it.
So it was Tim who came up with that title. So Tim, if you're listening tonight, thank you.
That's
Um,
beautiful. I love the title. I love the title. And what do you want your readers to walk away with once they read Jordan's story?
I want the readers to walk away with that sometimes you have to risk everything to do what's right. Okay. And that you're not going to grow, you're not going to move forward in life if you're not going to take that chance. Okay. And it may not work out, not this time. Okay. But some things are more important. Okay. And sometimes you have to just do it. Okay.
Wow.
And that's what Jordan finds out. Okay. And when you see what happens to her, and you'll see that her life changes drastically, but
Wow.
what happens to her and what she ends up with is going to be far better.
Wow. Love it. And you did say there was a part two. Is there a
There'll
title
be
or
a
we have
part
to
two,
wait
and
for it?
I'm hoping for a part three also.
Oh, keep going with it. We love that. We love that. And so,
Well,
where can we get your book from, and where
uh,
can they reach you at?
they can reach me at Luca Dimatteo, DPM at gmail.com, or on my website, luca-dimatteo.com. You can also buy the book there. You can buy it at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or at any of your local bookstores. Just go up to the counter and ask them to order it if they don't have it on the shelf. It will, because it's on Ingram, so they can get it there. Um, the ebook will be coming out by the end of the month. If you're one of those, I like to feel the book, so
I like to feel the book too, but my bookshelf
yeah.
is so smart. My small. My
Um,
husband is sick of me piling it up.
may I tell you what I'm currently working on?
Sure.
So my next novel is because I'm going to let Jordan sit for a little bit, which I'm almost done now, is a detective humor. And it is about it's a timepiece taking place in 1969, about an older woman who goes back to work for a private detective, and she can't remember people's names, and she solves his murder case for him. And she calls everybody by their physical things. It is humorous and funny, and everybody wants me to stop writing everything else and just keep writing this one. And it's a 4-book series. So it will be called
Wow.
Lunchtime. It will be called Lunchtime PI, the beginning.
Whoa. So you're saying that Jordan's other book is at a pause, and you're going to write this book.
This one's almost done. I have to
Whoa.
give Jordan a breather.
Wow.
So,
Now, I
but
think I told you, Luca, about myself, is that it's in my head. It will be written this year. And I think, I don't know if I told you, but if I didn't, I'm telling you now that I am writing my book about my experience with my mom, who she just passed on Palm
sorry to hear
Sunday.
that.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you
so
for
hard.
endorsing. But I want to write a book about my mom. I already had it, the outline. It's been years. And so now I'm going to put it to paper. But my story is about me growing up in a home with a mom who's deaf. And it's going to be from kindergarten to puberty. That way they can see how was that navigated. And the title of that book is Her World is Silent. And the reason why I'm writing it, I don't want anyone to do like I did. My mom did teach us sign language. You know how like a Spanish person, they can hear the Spanish words, but they talking in
Yes.
English. And so with me, I can hear what she's saying. I can see her signing, but I just didn't care to sign it back. So I want those who have a deaf parent to be that community inside and learn that sign language, make that community comfortable. That way, when you go on the outside, she can have a community. Because my mom, she was in the hearing community, but she was not in the deaf community. So the rest of her duration of her life was in hearing community, and she can read lips proficiently to where you think
Mhm.
she's just ignoring you, but she's deaf. So I don't want that to happen to others that may be experiencing it now. Do learn sign language. Her mother didn't know sign language. My dad didn't know sign language, but they did communicate. But us kids, we knew it. We did Black American Sign Language, and that's what they did. They didn't teach them being Black, but it's
Mhm.
Black American Sign Language as well as ASL. My mom taught us both of them. So that's why uh, I just really going to embrace more of the deaf community. In fact, long story short, I just yesterday I was at VCU hospital, and there was a young man. He was trying to tell the cashier what he wanted to eat. And so I saw him signing, and I said, "Excuse me," and I went on ahead and talked to him. But he was trying to tell her he wanted some chips with his sandwich. So he spelled it out to me, and I told him to spell it out to me, and I said, "Wait a minute, do it again, do it again." And so I'm learning along the way, because all I need to do is brush up on it. And then I
Mhm.
had him to spell it real slow, And then I said, oh, chips. So he finger spelled it out. And so that's why I'm like, anytime, any opportunity I get it, I'm going to go head on with it. So I can see it, I understand it. I just need to brush up on it. But I should be, I'm saying for myself, I should be proficient because I grew up in the home. But I'm telling the world now, even though I grew up in the home, I didn't want to pick it up. And now I
I
do.
think,
But you see what I'm saying? So I'm
yes,
being
yes,
public with that.
but I think that's going to help a lot of people. Okay.
Yes.
And this brings us back full circle to education doesn't have to happen in a classroom.
Yes.
Okay. See?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen, Ellen, we had that conversation for a reason because that has to go in your book. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Write that down because somewhere that fits in your book. Okay.
Yes.
Because education doesn't happen in a classroom all the time.
That's
Okay.
so true.
And when you're ready, and you need help publishing it, you call me and
I
let me
sure
know.
will.
Okay. And then
All
I'll be the
right.
first online. I'm going to be the first online to get one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I
This has
promise
been,
that to you.
thank you so much. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me on.
You are so welcome. It is always a pleasure. Looking forward to you guys. Go out there, show both of those copies of the book. Go out and get Jordan's Bitter Pill. You guys are in for a wonderful treat. It is a plush packet. Do it as a dual packet. I have
Oh.
the first book. I'm definitely getting that second book, and it looks good. I can see it. I can see it.
Can't figure
Thank
out
you
which
so.
way to go with them.
Yep, but I can see it. I can read it. I see it. It's not backwards. That is wonderful.
Yeah, it's not backwards this time. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And
Thank you, Ellen,
it
for
was good talking
everything.
with you. Thank you for letting me share
Same.
my story to you.
Oh, I can't wait for it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. Anything you want to say before you go?
It's always a pleasure being here with you. And anytime you want me, I will be there.
Thank you. And do tell others about us.
I will. I will put it all over the social media for you.
Thank you. Have an amazing
Thank
night.
you, Ellen.
You're
Good night,
welcome.
everyone.
Good night. Hit that X up top and we'll see you. Have a
X
wonderful
up
night.
top.
Yep. Thank you so much. It's up
Thank you.
there
I
by
don't see
me.
it.
It's up there by me. If you look
By
up top.
you?
Yep. If you look up top of
No,
your
I don't.
screen at right top, let's see. I
Right
probably could,
top. I don't.
let's see, I probably could move you out too. Let's see. I don't want to kick you out. There you go. Thank you. That was Luca Dimatteo. Guys, we had a wonderful time talking with him. You guys got a chance to hear his wonderful story. Do go out and get it. Jordan's Bitter Pill. And I really love his story. So until next time, guys, have an amazing night. Thank you guys. Do check out our shows, the Scout Out Shout Out. That's a $35 show. It is 30 minutes and it is a way to get your book out there. I don't care if you just had your book yesterday. And also, thanks again to our guest, Luca Di Matteo. And you guys have an amazing night.